Think big, dream big, be big. This is a Fireside Chat. I'm always excited. I want to kind of give me a second, kind of just let some people chime in. But again, I wanted to always again start with an inspirational thought or motivational concept that keeps me going. So when I think about how we've been moving lately, I think about the concept that when you're out in the jungle and you're seeing things happen, you gotta realize that a lion is one of the most powerful animals in the jungle. When he wakes up every day, he has one thought in his mind. It's not about what I'm gonna do today, but it's what I want to eat today. And if you don't wake up hungry for something, what's really going on in your life? Because if you love what you do and it's in your heart, you're always going to wake up thinking about it. I think about not about money, but more about how am I going to bless somebody? What am I going to do next that's going to set me up for greatness? And then how I'm going to help someone else do something great. So again, just like that line when I wake up every day, I know every day I've got to wake up with one thought on my mind. How am I going to continue to be a blessing so that I can bless others? You know, again, that's part of that think big, dream big, be big. Thinking is about where you are and what you're doing, but dreaming is when you start to see yourself doing it. But being big is when you understand the concept that it is time to move forward, and it's about being that blessing. I'm gonna tell you now, the key thing is about that blessing. So look, I'm gonna give myself a chance to kind of get ready and see if there's anyone else out there gonna join me this morning, and I'm going to get ready for this an awesome day. I'm ready to kind of push forward and do some cool stuff. So I'm excited, and I'll be right back in a second. Uh, wow, I'm always amped up, man. I am always ready to go. So I got somebody joined on with me. Again, like I said before, I'm in that jungle. I'm always up and I'm always ready. I'm always looking for that person to bless. And again, this is the Fireside Chat. Think big, dream big, be big. This is an opportunity to do some great things. And the way the Fireside Chat works is very simple. It's just a great conversation, and I invite people on, and we just kind of free flow, free talk. We talk about the mindset. We talk about real estate. We talk about concepts help us move forward. And we talk about how we go and do great things. We got people that are joining. So again, I'm excited for who didn't uh, those who didn't catch that first interject. It was I talked about that lion and about being in the jungle and having to kind of really understand what it is that we do and how we wake up every day. I wake up hungry every day. I think about every day what am I going to be doing, how I'm going to bless people, and kind of how about what am I gonna do next. So again, I have a social just recently, and we talked about how the economy is changing and what's out there. So today's topic, I'm gonna start off kicking off with what if you didn't do anything that was gonna make you great? What if you decide not to do anything? How is that gonna affect you being successful? So I'm gonna stop right quick and see who we got online. Chime in if you're online. Let's see who you are. I know some people it's 6 in the morning. Some people may not have their cameras on, but I'm cool with that. So look, um, are you out there? Who's out there?
Hey, Chris, Kelly's out here.
Good morning, Kelly. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
Awesome. Welcome to Fireside Chat. Who else I have out there? All right, they'll chime in a second. So, Kelly, let me ask you a quick question. The question this morning is, what if you decide not to do anything do anything right now? What do you think is going to happen? And before we start, tell me, Kelly, what do you do? And um, I'm at the question I always ask because I think it's very important is how do you feel right now and where you are?
Okay, so what do I do and how do I feel? What would I do differently? Okay, I uh, I work in banking and I work with like executive communications, doing process improvement and strategy, and I really like it. But if I could do something else, I would rather be doing creative things, spending more time with my family, and definitely earning greater income. I think I can't hear you, Chris.
Well, so tell me, with everything that's going on, how do you feel right now, in the economy?
I feel that we're probably in for a rough ride with interest rates and overall with the economy. But I'm the type of person to save for a rainy day, so I think I'll be okay. But it is a little concerning for my family and friends.
So with that said, what do you see as the feedback? One second. I think it's coming through your mic, Kelly. But let me ask you a quick question. So now, are you currently in real estate? Do you do anything in real estate, or do you have a burning question that we can talk about that would help you overcome that fear that's at the point right now, giving you some uncertainty with your family? Tell me about that. Do you have any questions that you want to fire off that I can probably help answer and have people on the call chime in as well? Because again, I tell people that I've been in real estate for a little over 20 years and it changed my life. The biggest thing that happened to me was when I decided to leave the bank. It was it was a time, man. And the funny thing is, the economy looked just like this when I left the bank. You know, we were starting to go through a recession. Things weren't looking too good, and I realized that every 7 years there's a financial cycle. Once you understand that key concept, you understand that this is a part of an overall system, it's part of an engine, and that engine go every 7 years it goes through a cycle. And the one thing that you can be guaranteed is that the cycle, or when it happens, you're never going to be prepared for it. You're never going to be ready. But what you can do is constantly put yourself in a position that you're learning from it, you're growing from it, and you're not being overcome by it. Um, when I got to that point and I decided to leave the bank, it was a scary time for me because I had just started to kind of push into real estate. But I knew one thing, and I knew one thing wholeheartedly, that if God set me on a path and showed me a vision, and that vision was about helping people and changing communities, I knew I was actually in the right path. So um, I'll tell you, it is a scary time in the economy. That if you look at what's happening, there is so much opportunity for so many different things. But I'm gonna let you ask that question. Let's figure out what question you may have that can kind of help along that way. I just want to share that quick thought because again, I know a lot of people sitting out here wondering, with the economy changing, what do I do next? What am I doing right now? And what is it that's going to help me get over it? And the one thing I tell you, it starts in your mind. Everything that you do, you gotta again, Becca 2:2, write the vision, make it plain, and James 4:2, you have not because you ask not. Those are two scriptures I always put out there because you know, no matter what you do, it starts up here. And if you're not willing to vocalize it and get around circles that are actually doing some things to help move you forward, you're going to sit back in that lackadaisical state and you're going to find yourself in a position where you may miss out on some great things. But Kelly, go ahead and chime in with your question. Um, we can answer.
Sure, because I think for me, I'm very focused on legacy now. So I want to buy another property or land to build on property to help establish things for like my children, their children. But I'm not sure exactly what the best way to do that is. So I have lots of questions. I have like assets I could liquidate to do it, or I could go the traditional route. Um, and I might need to just build up my money. So if you have any suggestions for how to help me be in a better position to purchase something, so that I could then rent it out. It's not wouldn't be to live in, but to rent it out, or to build on to rent those properties out, or even help maybe fund other real estate investments. So
Well,
any advice you have would be great.
the first advice I give you is so I tell people one of the key things is not knowing what to buy, it's where to buy. And I'm very big about target marketing. I talk about that in some of the upcoming trainings that we're doing, and I'll dive a lot deeper. But I think the key thing first is to identify where to buy. And I'm gonna give you a secret. This is like one of the biggest secrets that's out there. But the quickest way to figure out where to buy is to look at where people say are communities or areas that are marginalized, being gentrified, or areas that are being targeted. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying it from the standpoint of, again, I'm always talking about the blessings, so please don't take it out of context. Because, again, you want to find out where areas that need you, someone like you with the heart for community, for people, and you want to go and help solve problems. I always tell people, wealthy people put themselves in a position where they can always solve a problem. So when I say that is you're looking at land in areas that would be in areas that may be a challenge area or areas being gentrified or area that you can create an opportunity for someone else. Again, I always tell people being big is about being that blessing. So you want to figure out an area where you can go be a blessing. Now, the other thing I'll tell you too is that um, you need to get connected with people that are doing what you're looking at doing. So I always, I'm always learning. I'm always surrounding myself with people that are either in the game or that are already doing the game or have come out of the game, meaning that they're at the point where now they're doing other things. They're not only just doing real estate, they're doing other things. So again, first step is you got to find a location when you that's going through that creates the opportunity for you. Then you want to get around people that are already doing it, and then you want to start looking at how the third part of your conversation. How do you finance it? So let's focus back on the first one first. So again, you find the area that that you want to buy in. Now you talked about land and you talked about house. Buying the raw land is going to be an easier. I think I'd say easier right now in this market than actually the house. The house prices have shot up, but they're starting to stabilize. And if you looked at raw land, the goal of raw land to is going to be to go in and take that land and look at what to do with the land. That's predominantly build on it or do what is called assemblage and try and sell it off. So you got some options there. But you said your long term goal is to own a rental. I think rental properties are great. So in these areas, you can find a great property. The challenge you're going to run into right now is going to be looking at the interest rate and looking at how you're going to purchase that. With cash, you have cash, you can do it a cash deal, or you can look at doing a finance deal. Just remember, I always tell people debt is good. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you can come to some of my mentorship sessions or take one of the courses because I'm gonna tell you we talk about why debt is good. I'll tell you very briefly so you understand it, but debt is good because again, you're not paying that interest rate, you're passing it on. But the key thing about it is you want to make sure that when you pass it on, that the person you pass on to can afford it. So again, you want to be conscious about how you're doing it because in the backside, you've got to be able to make sure you cash flow. So the raw land is one option, the house is the other, in the right area, and then you want to try to determine are you going to pay for it cash, or are you going to buy it on finance? One thing I'm gonna throw out there, people don't realize it. You have access to capital that you may not be thinking about, and I'll let you chime in on this, and maybe this has been helpful at some point, helpful for you as well, because again, when you look at your financing piece, you found the property. I'm gonna go back and before I jump off. If you find the property, again, you can connect with local wholesalers. You can also connect with a local realtor. I always advise. I tell people for years I've always had a realtor. I've always had one realtor I've dealt with that really knew what I was looking for. That kind of helped me along the way. But at the same time, my realtor that I work with, I find most of my deals. But I've always relied on them to either close them and connect with them because they have that knowledge and that mindset, and they could cross lines and dots and T's that I didn't cross. So again, the goal was I built that relationship. I had a good realtor that I could ask to go and really dive deep in the deal and really look at stuff for me. So again, once you find that property, wholesalers, realtors, and just getting out in that community and walking around talking to people. That's the best way to kind of find out. I tell people you'll find more when you're doing something when you're not doing something. So again, those are three little tips. I got a lot more. I talk about target marketing in my class, how to actually do it. I tell you some deeper dives, and I actually walk you through some process. So connect up on that one. But now let's look at you. You found what you want, land on a house, and then you start looking at the financing piece. And so, a good option for the finance piece. You said you have some cash, but you may also have a HELOC, and I'll ask about that too. A home equity line of credit. You could do it that way. I tell people one of the key things is not to always use all of your money. Try and find OPM. I talk about that a lot too in the class. So and then also one thing you may not know, I'm gonna drop a nugget on you. If you have a job and you have a 401k plan, you can always take a loan against the 401k plan. And there's some rules and regulations to that. We can talk about that more deeply later, but that's a way to help finance it as well. Again, I tell people retirement isn't based upon a number or age, it's based upon a mindset. And for me, when I looked at retirement, I knew I wanted to retire early, and that was my mark was in I was in 34 before it was time was 38, but I did it by 34. And I'll tell you, one of my secrets was I realized the rules and the secrets around a 401k plan. Again, I always tell people if you want to play the game, know the rules. Give me some feedback, Kelly. What do you think about that? And does some of that make sense to you?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, Chris. That was a lot. I'm processing it. So definitely knowing the area that I want to be in, definitely making sure I understand if I want to liquidate any assets or get cash for that for the purchase. And then I think just like you were saying, just building that network, making sure I have a realtor. But I did have a question when you mentioned a wholesaler. So what did you mean by that?
So a wholesaler is someone that either finds properties. So this I talk about it more detail, but I'll tell you just the basic the gist. A wholesaler is someone that's out there right now that may not be in a position to buy, or maybe someone that is building their cash at the time. So they're out scouring properties and looking. They're finding owners, and they may not be able to buy the property at that time. So what they do is they do a consignment contract, whereas they'll find the property, they'll find a seller that's willing to sell. They put the property under a contract, and they'll wholesale the property to you. So they're not closing on it; you are. And so they'll get a small margin, and that number just depends on them and what that property value is. So basically, they're giving you an opportunity to make some money while they're making some money while solving a problem of buying that home or land. It can be either. And so you meet wholesalers that they're out there. If not, I've got some great wholesalers you can work with. Just hit me on the DM, and I'll be happy to kind of point you in the right direction to some great wholesalers. Again, there's multiple ways to find properties, and a wholesale is a great way to kind of start doing that and connecting. But I'll tell you the key thing, as always, is always about relationships. So you build great relationships, and I'll tell you, in my entire career, every property that I've found, there's only two properties I did not close. One because One property I didn't close because it just turned out not to be a great deal, and the other one was my wholesale at the time. I was heading to Chicago. I was on a plane, and he's out here. He's listening. He probably gonna see this. And I was on the plane, and he could not get me all the information at the time fast enough for me to close that deal. I said, once these wheels go up, I'm not gonna buy this property. And I had the cash in the bank. Everything was sitting. It was done. All I want is ain't the deal to move forward. But I didn't close the deal because the plane took off. And hey, look, I was actually headed. And I wasn't. I'm sorry. I was headed to Africa at the time. So I missed out on that one. And again, I close every deal that comes my way. That when I put my mind to it, say I'm gonna do it, I'll find a way to close that deal and make it happen. And those were the only two deals I didn't close. So again, find a good wholesaler, but at the same time, there's other ways as well. Riding around and looking for your own property because you can be your own wholesaler. I can tell you more about that either when we do if I ever do a consultation with you or I have a training I talk about it. But again, that is a viable way to find properties.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you muted.
I said
I
not
said not
now you're in the process of looking for that property and starting this journey. Let me ask you a quick question. How does that feel? How has the process been for you? Has it been overwhelming? Are you constantly thinking about it? Are you in that stage of I'm ready to do something, I just don't know how to get started?
It's a little overwhelming because I've bought and sold like personal homes that I've lived in. And sometimes, you win and you make money. And sometimes I had to bring money to closing. So it was a little overwhelming to know all the things that you just described, like getting the relationships built, knowing the areas. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. But I have a goal. You mentioned write the vision, make it plain. So I know I want to buy this year. That's on my vision board, but I'm not really exactly sure how to start. So it's a little overwhelming.
And I think that's the game of real estate. I think a lot of people fall into that space where it does get to be overwhelming. But I will tell you this: the one thing I tell you is find a deal and just put a contract on it, make an offer. Find that area first that you really want to spend more time identifying the areas you want to work in and get to know that area. Now, everything I'll tell you, all of my properties are in. I have a whole strategy around how I around my properties, and I'll be happy to kind of share with you on that one. And I talk about it in my training classes, so please chime in to my next training class. We'll be doing one soon. But the key thing about it is that I really try and focus in on one area, and I'll tell you that the reason that being is because I'm lazy. And when I say I'm lazy, I like to buy in a certain area because if I'm on a whole, I'm on the whole side, and so I build whole portfolios, and I want my portfolio to be so tight in a particular area that I know if I had to go work on something, I can reach all my properties. My joke is always I can every property I own on a high powered motor scooter on a half battery life in 1 hour. So I really dive deep into understanding the areas I'm investing in, knowing everything that's happening there, and put myself in a position that when something comes up, I'm always ready to execute and take advantage of it. Again, having an opportunity and being able to execute an opportunity is that you're always ready. I stay ready for that opportunity, and I'm always ready. So again, I think the key thing is to overcome that anxiety. Is first of all your mindset. You gotta write it down. Write down what that. I want you. I always tell people this is something I do a lot. I'll sit down. I close my eyes, get real quiet, and I envision what that house looks like, what that area looks like, and I start to think about how can I change it, and I start to see myself changing. I start to see all people that are around me changing. That's envisioning. So you're actually executing a great book I read called The Secret. And if you haven't read The Secret, it's a great book. I tell you, or you can watch the movie. It is amazing. The power that it gives you when you start to visualize and be able to see it and put yourself as if you're already there. Because until you see it, write the vision, make it plain. You start to see it, and when you really start to see it, you start to understand how to make things happen. But again, um, I think that's the key thing that helps you overcome it, because now you're trying to look past the problem. And don't get to the point where you're beating yourself up, because a lot of people out there don't know how to start. But I'll tell you, the quickest way to start is put it on the contract. When you find a deal, just make an offer, put it on the contract. We can always talk about it. I'm happy to do a session with you and help you analyze that deal. And we can also analyze the deal right here. That's why it's called a fireside chat. And again, if you do a conversation about it or do a type of consultation, because again, once you find that deal, putting it in the contract does one thing for you. It holds you accountable, and you start to do something that's more important. And what's important is you start to execute on how to solve that problem and close that deal. That's what I'm always big on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When I find a deal, I look at it and say, you know what? Is this a deal I want to buy? Am I ready to buy? What can I do to make it happen? How can I look at this in all different avenues? And last thing, how do I close that deal? So look, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for me always, and I'm always out there hungry, looking for a deal and looking for something else to do. So again, you saw me in the residential side. Again, we almost had 100 homes, and then got into commercial. So I'm always trying to figure out how to make it happen, but I always see it here first. That's why I tell people it's all about the mindset, because you can get to the point to where it gets to be overwhelming and you start to stall and you start procrastinating and you stop moving forward. So first of all, find a location, get in a contract. You'll figure it out once you get in the contract. I promise you. You when you put in a contract, you put the earnest money down, you will get motivated to buy that property, because you will either lose some money or you're gonna make some money. And then third is to really again get around people that are doing it, that can help you walk through the process. I'm always willing to help you. I'm always here. Again, think big, dream big, be big. I'm always trying to make these moves and always trying to put things together. So did that help, Kim?
Yeah, that really did help a lot, Chris. Thank you.
I'm going to start chiming off, because again, I want to keep these short. I want to do fireside chats. I know about 30 minutes. I try and do 45 sometimes, but again, my goal is to try and drop some gems, drop some nuggets, and try and help you kind of think through the process. Again, I'm in the mode now where I want to teach, and I want to start giving back more, because it's time. I'm at that point, and I'm going to be doing some cool things. I'll tell you right quick, because we're closing out. One is I'm excited about doing these fireside chats every Tuesday at 6 a.m. I'm committed about it, because I really want to help people change their lives and help people just like you, Kelly, overcome some of the challenges. But two, we're also doing some cool interviews. If you have not seen our interview session, I got some great people we're interviewing that I promise you, the winning mindset, you'll see it in other people. It's not about what you do, it's how you think and what you believe. Again, think big, dream big, be big. It's a movement. It's not a theory, it's not a concept. And then three, we're about to do something I think is going to change the game. I want to take at least 30 people to Africa, guys. The next session, I'm gonna throw some videos up of what we're doing in Africa. You'll see it. I got a great Africa team in Africa. I will have them on one of our fireside chats and let you meet them, because they are preparing an amazing event in Africa in between March of next year. So get ready. A lot more details coming out. You're gonna see us talking more about it, some videos, and we're gonna do some stuff around it. But again, I want to break the barriers and show you how a winning mindset and think big, dream big is going to change concept and open up doors for opportunities, not just for business, but also for different types of businesses in Africa, specifically in Kenya. And I'm excited. All my Kenya people out there. Shouts out to my team there. You know you are. I'm waiting. I'm excited. But I'm gonna bring you on. Let you do it yourself. So again, stay tuned. Think big, dream big, be big. I'm excited, and I hope this will help. So again, chime in every Tuesday, 6 a.m. in the morning. I do it because I do this every day. I do this all the time because I want to get you up early, get your blood flowing, and put you in a mindset that we got to win. So let's go get it. Get your day started. Again, remember, be that lion. See us and understand you're in a jungle. And every day you wake up, you got to be ready to do one thing: go eat. Because I'm about to go eat now. Take care. Enjoy.